Good evening. Welcome to On Another Level Book Club's Author Babble. Tonight we're getting up close and personal with LaMia Michele, the author of She Writes from the Heart. Welcome, LaMia, and thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I am LaMia Michele, and I currently reside in Georgia, but I am from a small city right outside of Philadelphia, Chester, PA. I'm not sure if you guys know about it or not, but it's a really, really small city. And I'm a mother of one, a grandmother to two,
Okay.
Mimi and Izzy. And
Grandmother.
right now, yes, I have two grandbabies, a
Oh,
7-year-old
wow.
and a 3-year-old. And of course, I'm a mom, I'm an aunt, I'm a sister, I'm a cousin, I'm a motivational coach. I've been busy lately.
I see. That's good. That's good. So let's talk about your book. Um, Tell us what inspired you to write She Writes from the Heart.
She writes from the heart. I was told like maybe I want to say maybe 14 years ago while I was sitting in church that I needed to write a book. She Writes from the Heart is
Mhm.
not that book. So I went around that. Unfortunately, I went around that, but I'm gonna work on it. And one day I just was sitting and going through all of my journals and just
Mhm.
replaying different situations and scenarios in my life and some of the decisions and choices that I made. And I was just rereading this stuff. And I just said, I need to put this in a book. I need to
Mhm.
share this. I have a saying where I said I needed to unload my bag of rocks. So
I like
unloading my
that.
bag of rocks is how this book came into fruition because I needed to
Mhm.
get all of this stuff that I was carrying around out. And I put it in a book.
Love it. What Erica Badu say, bag lady?
Yes, okay. I was listen, I understand. I
And you know
understand.
they say writing is very therapeutic. So what other
Yes,
way to do it is to put it in a book and bless someone else that may be going through the same thing.
exactly. And it was healing for me. Like it
Mhm.
was part of my healing process, part of my healing journey. And like I said, once it was out, I didn't have to carry it anymore. I didn't have to continue
Right.
to pick it back up. It's like, okay, I've healed that aspect of me. And it felt good. It felt good to let it go.
Interesting. So how long did it take you to write the book?
It took me a month.
A month.
It took me 30 days.
Okay,
One
so
month.
are you a new writer? Have you written before?
I have never written a book before. The only thing I've wrote is in my journal, in my sticky notes. That's it. And
That's
I saved
impressive.
everything. I saved all my notes. So it just was like, okay, because I was like, okay, God, how am I gonna write a book? And
Mhm.
I gotta write that other book. I'm going to, I promise. But I was like, but I need to get this stuff off of me. I started going
Mhm.
on a spiritual journey and down this path to a spiritual awakening. And so I started getting to know myself and I started looking at myself and I'm like, oh, whoa, that's not the woman that God showed me that I am. I need to show up a
Mhm.
little bit more. And that's how it came
Right.
into fruition because as I started to show up, I started to read them sticky notes and I started to read them journal entries. And I was like, oh, I do not reside on that timeline anymore. It's time to let that stuff go. And that's how
Right.
it came.
Wow. First book, brand new author, and you write a book in 30 days. That's very impressive. Very
Thank
impressive.
you.
Okay, so you
Thank
said when you were
you.
in church as a child, someone told you that you're going to be an author or you need to be writing.
It was
From that
as an
time,
adult.
I'm sorry.
It was as an adult.
Oh, really? So did
Yes.
you have any desire prior to someone telling you that to be an author as a child? Did you ever think about writing?
No, I didn't think I would be an author. I just like to write. That was always my
Mhm.
hobby. Like in elementary school and just all through school, that was just my safe place. Like I could write everything down in a journal and it was just for
Mhm.
me. So it was my way of keeping something just for me. But
Right.
did I ever think that it was gonna go to this level? No, that was not my plan. And that day when I was in church, it was about 12 or 14 years ago. It was
Okay.
just that I was in a bad place. And so the preacher was preaching, and everything that he was saying was coming to me. And then it's
Mhm.
like every year after that, I would meet people and they would say, "Oh, girl, you need to write a book." Because I talk to everyone and they like, "Girl,
Mhm.
you need to write a book." So it kept coming. And I prolonged it for 14 years.
But you
Then
know what?
it was
As easy as it was for you to write that within 30 days, I mean, you did listen. It's obvious it was time for it to come out, you know. And I truly
I
believe
agree.
that things happen for a reason, you know.
I agree. I
So
agree.
the journals that you wrote, because you said you wrote in journals growing up, do you still have those journals? And do you think there's books laying within those journals, future books?
I do. I still have all my journals and I looked at them today and I said, why? Okay, you wrote the book, so why are you still holding on to them? And then I feel like it's more. It's more that
Right.
I have to unpack. It's more that I have to unload. It's more that I have to get out. And so I
Mhm.
that's the reason why I still have them. And I looked at them in the drawer today before I even came on here with you guys. And I questioned myself, why are you still holding on to that? And I said, well, I thought the purpose of the book was to let them go. And no, God said it's more. I need you to
Mhm.
pour more. I need you to release more. And I said, okay. So, yes, I have a few more books that I'm working on. I have two that I'm
Okay.
working on right now.
Awesome. So what was the most difficult process in writing the book and trying to get it published? That whole process. What was the most difficult pro- part of the
The
process?
first thing that I can think about that was the most difficult for me was reliving those memories, was just
Mm.
seeing myself written on paper and reading that was like, whoa. It was like
Mhm.
a whoa moment. And then it
Right.
was just the whole process, trying to get people to come and help me. Like, okay, I have a couple of associates that have written books and I would ask for help, and it's like no one would show up. And I
Mhm.
was just like, okay, so I have to do this on my own. Then it was going through everything with Amazon and having to reformat and having
Mhm.
to get the margins right, and oh, they messed this up, they misspelled this word, and oh, it was, so that was the most difficult. But initially it was just seeing on paper that I lived through this, I went through
Right.
this. Like that was like a eye-opening moment. It was like,
Right.
wow. And then realizing that, oh, I survived this. So it's like
Right.
a survivor of life. And
Mhm.
I have to celebrate that.
That's yes, definitely, definitely. Won't he do it? Won't he do it?
Yes, okay.
So as you were going through your journals and pulling um, information to put in the novel, in the manuscript, did you encounter any situations that you realized you hadn't fully healed from and you had to face?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, mainly
I'm sorry.
toxic relationships. Like
Mm.
I was in a relationship with someone for 3 years prior to moving to Atlanta. And so like the
Mhm.
last couple pages of my book is kind of about him because it was like just not good for me.
Okay.
It wasn't good
Okay.
for me, it wasn't good for us. And just again, just having to relive through that and say, "Oh, wow." But it
Wow.
made me realize that as much as we say, "Oh, I love myself," it made me have to face the fact that my decisions and my choices didn't show self-love. It wasn't a
Didn't
reflection
align.
of that. So, I wasn't I want to say this right. I was more open and I started to appreciate it because had he not shown up, I probably wouldn't have never got the lesson. So it
Right.
was
Right.
like, okay, it's a blessing in every wound. You just have to look for it. And I found it. And I was like, oh, yes, okay. I needed him for that in this season for that reason. And it was okay.
Exactly. That's right. And that's one thing about life in general, it's all about how you perceive a situation, It's all about how you see it because in every situation, as you just said, there's a lesson in it. You should be growing
Yes,
from every situation.
I agree. I
So
agree.
you have a son, correct? Is
I,
son
I have a
or daughter?
daughter.
A
Yes.
daughter? Okay.
Uh-huh.
So how does your daughter feel about her mom being an author? And does she have that gift within her?
She does, and I keep trying to bring it out of her. And she is proud. She is so proud of me, and she says it to me every single day. I haven't released my book, so this is like the grand release, but I did give her a copy. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I wrapped it up and put it in paper and put it in a nice gift bag and made it so pretty, and she opened it once she got home, and she called and she was like, "Mom, I am so proud of you." She was like, "You did it." So that made me feel good. And my 7-year-old granddaughter, she was like, "Gigi, you're on a book."
Uh-huh.
They're excited. They are my backbone. So it's amazing. It feels good to be able to give them something to look forward to give them
Yes.
something to strive towards. And it's just like, okay. So
That's
hopefully my
good.
mom is on here watching because I did invite her.
Hi, Mom.
Yes.
So, have you had your book reviewed by family members and friends? And what type of response have you received?
My daughter and one, no, I can say that. Okay, so my daughter has reviewed it and she loves it,
Okay.
of course.
Mm-hmm.
I had maybe two friends review it. So again, besides just the editing part of it, because I literally did everything on my own, like the editing, everything. So it was just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the editing part of it probably could be tweaked a little bit more, but that's pretty much the only feedback that I've gotten. The other feedback that I've received is you were so transparent, but it's heartfelt. Like
That's
you
good.
opened up, and it's like because I did that, like it was more welcoming. Like the
Right.
3, 4 people that did read it, it was like wow. Like I felt your soul in everything that you wrote. Every word that you wrote, it spoke volumes. It's
That's good.
relatable.
Mm-hmm.
So it made
That's
me proud.
good. Mm-hmm. I mean, because that's what you want. You want to connect with your readers because
Right.
that's how you find your true supportive followers. Whenever you
Okay.
release something else, they're going to be there to support you.
Cool. Nice. Thank you.
So, you are a
Yeah.
poet.
Yes.
So, when did you start writing poetry?
I want to say maybe 3 years ago. It
Mm-hmm.
was just something like I just always was fascinated, like with Maya Angelou and Gwendolyn
Mm-hmm.
Brooks, and it's this one poet on Instagram that I love, Alex L. And I'm
Okay.
like, whoa! And I just caught up in everything that they write, and it caused me to want to write. So I just would write everything down, and I was like, yes, I'm feeling that. Like it was moving me. One of my coworkers was like, "Can you
Mm-hmm.
write a poem about me?" And I did, and she was like, "Oh, this is good." So it just was like
That's good.
those moments, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I can be a poet too. So I ran with it.
Mm-hmm. So, will we find poems sprinkled throughout the book, or is that something we should look forward to? A poetry book.
Well, it's pretty much
Were you
like
able to
a
hear me?
book of poetry,
Okay.
compilations. Like, yes, I can hear you. Hear
Okay.
me? Can you hear
Yes, I
me?
can.
Really like a
Yes, you just froze
mixture
for a
of
second,
things
but you're
within the
good.
book. So, okay, you can hear me now? Okay. So it's like a
Yes,
mixture
I
of
can.
things. Like you can find like my journal notes, and then you find poetry because some instances I wrote like in a poetry form. I really don't have a style to it. I just write from my heart. Whatever is on my heart, it just comes out. And so it's a combination of a few things, really.
Okay.
Can you still hear me? Okay.
You went in and came back out, but I think we're good. Okay. Are you able to hear me?
Okay. Now I can't.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now.
I think there's a delay, so that's what's happening, but I think
Yes.
we're good. So,
I
do
can hear
you
you
have a
now.
poem that you can share with us on tonight?
Okay. I do. Um, I
Let's
do.
hear it. Let's hear
I'm
it.
gonna
Let's hear it.
read. I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read this one that I read the other night. Because I don't know. I think that many times we just don't like the reflection that we see in the mirror. but it's still something behind there that's trying a version of us trying to come out that needs to come out. So
Mm-hmm.
during one of my moments, I just was like in this split in this space where I was constantly praying and begging God, just show me who I am. Who am I? Who
Mm-hmm.
am I? And so I'm going to read from my book, Mirrors and Reflections.
Okay.
Looking in the mirror can't beyond this distorted image who is supposed to be me. Who am I? God, where are you? Please. I thought this was my year to heal. Instead, here I am fighting to be, fighting to see who is this woman in the mirror looking back at me. Really? Is this who you created me to be? Do you not see me? Each day I am fighting hard to find the real me, this so-called woman you created me to be. Who am I? And so that was one of my moments, like during this time when I was in that relationship, that I knew it wasn't right and I just was wondering why God had placed me there
Mm-hmm.
instead of understanding it was a choice that I made to place myself there. And I just kept asking God, well, who am I? Who am I? And a version of the glimpse that he would give
Right.
me didn't match the life that I was living. So I knew that it was time for me to
Mm.
change. It was time to love myself completely, to heal completely. Even though healing is still like a everyday journey, it just was time.
Right.
And when I kept asking God those questions, he kept showing up and giving me glimpses of myself, but it didn't resemble the woman that I was seeing in the mirror, but I was making it become. And here I am.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So the poem, "Who Am I?" That is something that I think everyone
Can
asks
you still hear
themselves.
me?
Some
I
Yes, I can
can't
hear
hear
you.
you.
Are you able to hear me? Okay. What about now? Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Oh, we're glitching.
Hold on, just a second. I'm gonna reload.
Okay. Now I can. Yes. Yes. Okay.
Okay, LaMia, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Are you able to hear me?
I can.
Okay, great, great.
Yes.
I
We're
apologize
good.
for that. The internet.
Yes.
So the poem, "Who Am I?" That's
It's
a
okay.
question that everyone, I feel, whether or not they want to admit it, it's a question you ask yourself. Some phase of your life, you're going to question who you are. So I love the fact that it, and like you say, it is transparent. It's it's
Right.
relatable because we all go through stages where we're trying to figure out who we want to be and who. Now I'm gonna say it, who the Lord has told us we should be. So I love the poem. I really did. When you was writing your book,
Yes.
did
That
you
part.
encounter any
Yes.
writer's block?
This time I did not. Can you hear me?
Okay.
We keep
Yes, I can.
glitching.
Uh huh. Yes.
This time I did not. And only because it was. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Uh huh. I can hear you.
When I wrote this book, this first book, I didn't experience writer's block, and I think it was
Mm-hmm.
because everything was already pre-written. So because I was just writing notes, it was just more so of structuring together so that it flows cohesively.
Okay.
But no, not for this one. Now, the one that I'm currently working on all the time.
Really? So what do you do when you get to a point where you can't, when you're blocked? What is there anything specific that you do to kind of help you break through that?
I normally take a
Okay.
bath. I normally light my candles. Zone out and I pray. And I just ask God to come and give me
Okay.
direction. But I rest. I have a tendency to kind of overwork myself sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So when I start to experience writer's block, I've learned that it just means I need to rest and reset. So I just take a
Interesting.
rest and then I'll pick it back up in the next day or maybe a few days. But that's worked for me lately. Like just rest, relax your mind, and reset.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay, so tell our viewing audience where you can be contacted and also where can they purchase your books.
From the Heart can be found on Amazon. It comes in paperback and Kindle format. And I can be found on all social media, well, almost all social media platforms. On Instagram, I am underscore I am LaMia, LAMIA, Michelle, with one L. On
Okay.
Facebook, my name is Mia Pierce. And then I have a YouTube
Okay.
channel that's LaMia Michelle. And that's pretty much it. I haven't worked my way up to Twitter yet.
Okay. You got to join the Twitter gang. The Twitter gang.
That looks nice.
So I read where you are a certified life coach. I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
am.
Okay. So
I
tell us
am
about
working on
your.
that as well. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. There's just a delay, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes. So is that what you do full time, certified life coach?
Okay. No, I have a full-time job. I work at a cancer hospital as a cardiac technician. And so in my spare time when I'm not with my grandbabies, I'm writing or I'm working on building my clientele for my coaching. So I'm busy like all the
I
time,
see.
but I am going to be moving into life coach and taking that in a different direction as well. And that's kind of what my youth, yes, what my YouTube videos are about. It's like my motivational speaking and just trying to inspire others through, me being transparent. I just feel like, it's a lot of facades in the world and, people don't know what real is
Right.
anymore. So I asked God, why do I have to be this transparent with everything? And he just, again, it's just part of the healing. It's just part of the healing. So, but I'm looking forward to being a life coach as well. I don't know how I'm gonna fit everything in, but I'm gonna work it out.
Girl, the Lord's gonna have to bring you off that job because I'm trying to see how are you finding time to do all of this. Okay, so at this time we're going to transition over.
I think we're froze again.
At this time we're going to transition over, and I'm going to ask you a few questions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to dig a little deeper.
Okay.
First question. Just be open and honest. Again, we just want to get to know LaMia Michelle. Okay. Let's see.
Okay.
Um, how important do you think self improvement is? How important do you think self improvement is?
I would say a 10. I feel like we have to work on developing ourselves. We have to improve ourselves. Change is a constant, and we have to be able to flow in that energy when it's time to, unless we will get stuck. And I was in a place before where I was stuck, and that's not a fun place to be in.
Right.
And so you constantly have to work every day at becoming the best version of yourself. My thing is show up as the most authentic
I love it.
version of yourself, because when
Mm-hmm.
do that, the people that's meant to be a part of your circle, they will show up too.
So
And
true.
that's been important to me. So, and because I have a daughter, my daughter is 30. And like I said, I have a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old grandchildren. And
Mm,
so I need them to see Gigi doing things. I need them to see me making moves and being this powerhouse that they can look up to, so that I can have a legacy to leave behind, something to strive towards. So every
right.
day I'm improving myself in some way, somehow, some manner. It's like at the top of the list.
I like that. And then you mentioned earlier about it's not a lot of people out here that's being real. It's a lot of fakeness. And we're in the social media area where everyone puts on the facade. So to see someone that's transparent, that's good that you're leaving that and you're instilling that into your grandkids.
Thank you. I
Okay,
kind of
next
felt like
question. You
I
ready?
needed to, like I just
Yeah.
had to, and it came. Yep, I'm ready.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. As I stated, there's a delay, so you may be talking and I may be cutting you off. Just let me know, okay?
You're fine. Go ahead. I thought we were froze again.
Okay, so
Okay, you're
if
fine.
you could create a reality TV show, okay? Describe it to us. What would the reality TV show be about?
Oh, that's a good one. I already did one for Teen Mom. Let's see. And I don't really like the reality TV shows that's on now. So it would have to be something totally different. It would just be probably spiritual awareness and how people dive into spiritual awakening and the transitions they go through and it would have to be real authentic. It just would have to be like real life and not scripted. So it would just it would be unscripted, if that would work,
Oh,
which I don't think it would.
that's a
But
good title
if it
right
was
there.
something unscripted, that would be awesome because it's so many there. Look for that. I can't hear you again. Can you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me? No?
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yes, now I can.
Unscripted would be a good title for a reality show.
Look, look, I need to write that down. I have my journal right here.
Okay. What
That's
food
a whole
makes you the
mess.
happiest?
Ooh, macaroni. Macaroni
You say
makes
macaroni and
me
cheese?
the happiest. I love cheese, even though, but if I could get macaroni, yes, baked macaroni and cheese, like your grandma make
I'm
that
with
real
you. Yes.
macaroni. Yes,
Okay,
I love
last
anything with
question.
cheese. Pasta, like macaroni and cheese, would be my go-to.
I know. That's my weak spot too. I love cheese. I really do. Last question. If you had to
Yes.
write a book about your life, what
Okay.
would the title of that book be? If you had to write a book about your
Okay.
life, what
Hopefully
would
you
the
can hear
title of that
me.
book be?
Um. So this. Okay. Chosen
Oh,
vessel.
I like that.
That's what it would
Okay.
be. Because many are called, but
You
few
were
are
chosen.
chosen.
Okay, so once again, tell our viewers where you can be contacted and also,
I believe that.
okay, I think I was speaking over you. Tell our viewers where they can contact you and also where they can purchase your books. Your book.
Okay. Yeah, I have one book now, and I'm working on two more that I'm gonna release. So again, she writes. I am LaMia Michele, It can be found on Amazon. It comes in paperback format and also Kindle. And you can contact me on Facebook at LaMia Pierce, MIA, and then on Instagram at _I LaMia Michelle. And then I have a motivational page on Instagram as well. That's _planet_seed. And my YouTube channel, which is LaMia Michelle.
I'm excited to follow you on. Now, I am an avid YouTuber.
And I'm working on my website.
Okay, okay.
So that's coming too. I only have two hands.
How are you doing all of this?
Okay.
I don't see how you're doing all of this.
I say the same thing too. I was like, wait, how did all of this happen? And what is going on here? But I told myself, I was just saying earlier, I kept writing down on a sticky note, make room for your life to grow daily. Make room for your life to grow daily. And then my next affirmation was, today I will show up for myself. And literally all this stuff just started falling into my lap and started falling into place. And that's why I tell people, like, the power of their words. You have to watch what it is that you speak over yourself. You can speak life into yourself. How you see yourself is how you're going to
Right.
show up. And it's like, and I was like, wow. And it just was because I told myself daily, make room for your life to grow, show up, make room for your life to grow, and show up as your most authentic, best version of yourself. And that's just where I am. And so now it's still work. It's still work. I go to work and I come home and I still work.
Wow.
So that's just it's but it's rewarding. It doesn't feel like a burden.
Right.
It feels like an elevation. It feels like, okay, here she is. She was waiting to come out. Here she is. So it's rewarding for sure.
Right. It's not work because you enjoy it. That's what you enjoy.
And you guys are the. Can you hear me?
It's not
Yes.
work because you enjoy it. That's
I
what.
do. I do. I love sitting down writing. I'm in my bed writing stuff. I have sticky notes all over my wall.
I see it behind you. Organization. Okay, so every week we have
You see
people
them?
watching.
Yes.
Every week we have people watching who may have a desire to be a writer, to write a book, and they're nervous and they don't want to take that first step. What advice could you give to anyone that's watching who has a desire to write but may be kind of hesitant and fearful to take that first step? Are you able to hear me? Did you hear me? My question?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay,
Yes. So my first tip or my first point of advice would be, can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you.
Okay, good. So just jump. Just take a leap of faith. I truly believe that if you take one step, God is gonna come and take the next. Get over the fear. But even with fear, even if you have fear in your heart, just do it.
Right.
Because once you do it, you're gonna feel so accomplished. Like if you have journals that you keep your notes in and you're not afraid to just broadcast who it is that you are to the world,
Right.
start there. It took me 30 days to just compile all the notes in my journal and put it into a book. So it doesn't have to be this big old extensive manuscript, like my book is, I think, like maybe 225 pages at the most. And again, so start small. If you can start small and
Right.
just keep building your way up. The more confidence you get, the more the book could come out. Like I said, I'm working on 2 more books at the same time. So it's like, now that I got that one out of the way, I'm ready to jump. I can keep jumping. I can jump
Right.
higher now. So it's like, just take that step. Just continue to tell yourself daily. You have to speak life over yourself. You have to affirm to yourself, look, I am an author. I am an author, a
Speak it
published
into
author. I
existence.
am. I am are the two most powerful words. So that, and whatever you add behind them will manifest. But you have to believe it. You have to embody it and embrace it. I'm sorry. But yes. So that's what I would say. Just take one step and God will show up. Like whatever God you choose to believe in, you know, they'll show up, but it's gonna depend on you taking a step. Most of us are afraid. I was afraid
Right.
because I felt like it was too transparent, but
Mhm.
it's out there now. So it's turning back. And now I told
Yes.
everyone. So it's really no turning back.
Okay, so with two grandchildren, have you given any thought to maybe even writing some books geared towards children, young
This
adults or
was
young
fun.
children?
Girl population, probably. Like, because right now, I kind of think that my book that I've already probably more adult and not for children. But I did think about that because I was a teenage mom, you know,
Mhm.
so and I know other girls that are teenage moms and I know the struggle and I know what they're going through. I feel their pain, I feel their joy. So I know that I can add a lot to their lives by just again being transparent and sharing my story so that they know that they're not alone. So I have thought about that.
Well, that's something to keep in the back of your mind. That would be great. So I checked. We do not have any questions from our viewing audience on tonight. But LaMia, we want to thank you for coming out and joining us on tonight. It has been a pleasure speaking with
Okay.
you. Do you have any last word you want to leave with our viewing audience?
Yes, again, just just jump. Whatever it is that you want to do, it doesn't even have to be writing a book. It can be, I don't know, going to school, taking a class, learning something new, whatever that is, the faith within yourself. Take that leap. I promise you, be there to catch you. You will not fail. And even if you fail, that's still a part of winning as well. And you know, just jump. I think that we just have to have this faith and this belief within ourselves. God is within us, so if we just take a step, he will always show up. He will always show up. We all come here with a purpose. We all come here to serve a purpose. I feel like me coming out of my
Mm-hmm.
shell is serving whoever is supposed to get this message. I'm a server. So I'm okay with that. And we all are here to help and serve each other and build each other up. So just jump. That's my thing. Just jump.
Just jump. Lasting words,
But I
just
thank
jump.
you guys so much. This is my first interview. I was telling you guys, and I appreciate being able to be on your platform. I appreciate you guys tonight. Just jump. Just jump. You will not
Well,
fall. You will not fall. You will not fail. I promise you. I did, and it propelled me. It propelled.
well, we want to thank you for joining us on tonight. Thank you for being open and transparent. You did an awesome job. No one would have never known that this was your first interview. This is also your first book, and we wish you the best success. Go out and purchase her book. It's on
Thank
Amazon.
you.
It's on Kindle. LaMia Michele. The book is entitled "She Writes from the Heart."
Yes.
All righty. Join us next week, same place, same time, where we will be chatting it
Thank
up with
you.
author Tracy Walker, the author of This Is My Song. This is On Another Level Book Club from Dallas, Texas. Stay safe and have a great night. And remember, reading gives us someplace to go when we have to stay where we are. Stay safe and stay blessed.